Well, good day, everyone. My name's Chadiel Mascule, and I am here to present you, well, your future. So, I'll be presenting a strategic overview of your company, Loro global supply chain, and we'll try to benchmark it against one of your competitors. Well, competitors, you are part of the same group, but Louis Vuitton, as you might have noticed, they have started using agile methodology, and we'll try and take some inspirations from their way of doing things and hopefully recommend some actionable ways to improve the overall efficiency, responsiveness, and sustainability of Loro as a brand. Alright then. But of course, before we get into all that, let's rewind to Trivero, Italy in 1924, I believe, when one of your ancestors, Pietro Loro, started making this insanely soft cashmere that you are known for now. Fast forward 100 years, and the brand is still luxury. But its supply chain, on the other hand, well, it's less runway ready and more rigid. So we thought, why not give it the Louis Vuitton treatment? They've embraced agility and it's working pretty well. So we'll use this treatment and its supply chain to identify the best practices and try our best to propose some improvements to close those gaps between yours and their supply chain. Now, your current setup, it's old. Don't get me wrong. It's like a grandfather's closet. Elegant, but not exactly quick on its feet. You seem to have a single, centralized model, which means, well, slow replenishment of stores and stocks, a poor reaction time, and a real struggle to keep up with the fashion's fast pace. Don't get me wrong, once again. Look at those stitching. All symmetrical and wonderfully hand stitched. But that's not what's at stake here. As I learned in this industry, you can have the best product. If you don't know how to get it to your customers, it doesn't matter, you won't sell it. So, let's try and see. Your benchmarking performances. I have them in front of me here, and I can see that Louis Vuitton has an inventory turnover of around 1.5 per year. Well, compared to Louis Vuitton, Loro supply chain is just slower and less responsive, but with quite a significant higher inefficiencies. For example, Loro uses one, I think, distribution center, the one in Italy, while Louis Vuitton uses new markets as distribution centers. Let's see. That's like running a global marathon with only one sneaker run. It's just not doable. So, let's try to do a supply chain network map. We're going to see here that your supply chain, it starts in Mongolia for, well, the grade A sheared Mongolian goat cashmere that you use, in Peru for the vacuna wool, and in Australia for the merino wool. Then you go to pre-processing, where there is the initial cleaning, the dehairing, and the shortening. Then from there, international transport to Italy, where we can already see that those are some high CO2 emissions, which, well, they're costly and they're not good, nor for you nor for the environment. Then from there to the production and manufacturing, right? In Italy, where it's all happening. From there we have, of course, in there we have the spinning, the weaving, the dyeing, and all, and what's not. From there to the distribution center in Italy, which, once again, CO2 consumption and all. From there to the global distribution, so to the retail boutiques in Milan, Tokyo, or New York, to the e-commerce customers, to the wholesale clients, and to the airport boutiques and all. We consider that without a regional buffer, if you will, this all sounds beautiful, but without regional hubs, it's also slow, costly, and about as eco friendly as a coal powered yacht. So, we're gonna see now the inventory management. Well, this is a centralized structure. It is consistent with your, well, Loro piana's vertically integrated identity, but it creates some vulnerabilities. So, especially in lead time, responsiveness, and, well, service quality. The structure worked, but now it doesn't. Imagine ordering a $2,000 sweater and waiting 3 weeks for it to cross the Alps. Yes, well, what we're gonna recommend are three key actions. First, we're gonna have to segment inventory with an ABCXYZ analysis that will tailor safety stocks and replenishment based on items value, demand variability, uh, all that to reduce the overstocks and the stockouts. Then we're gonna try and leverage some real-time POS data. It will enable us to have a faster data-driven replenishment decisions for, well, better product availability and a shorter lead time. And finally, what we must do is a decentralized inventory with regional buffers, as I called them earlier, or distribution centers. We will establish hubs in Asia and North America to improve, well, responsiveness, and it will greatly cut emissions and boost our customer satisfactions, wouldn't it? On the technology front, well, technology can transform visibility, decision making, and responsiveness. It's essential for most luxurious brands. So, we will be using a RFID for traceability and anti-counterfeiting, IoTs for, well, the conditions monitoring, like temperature, humidity, uh, as the kind of materials you are using are, well, quite easily damageable. And in a more general sense, we'll use analytics to forecast demand and to apply more dynamic replenishment. Let's face it, we're in 2025. If your clothes are as smart as your fridge, you're probably winning. So, just to recap, RFID, so you know that the cashmere isn't a clever knockoff. The IoTs to make sure that it doesn't get moldy in shipping, for example, and the analytics to forecast demand before influencers make it viral. Tech allows us for faster decisions, happier customers, and fewer oops. You know, the oops moment. We ran out of it. Alright then. Then we have the warehousing and the distribution. As I said earlier, adopting regional logistics and autom, automations aligns with the best in class practices. like those used by Louis Vuitton or even Zara for logistics, like cross docking instead of being stored. The product are sorted and immediately transferred to outgoing trucks or delivery vehicles. Then, of course, we shall set up regional distribution centers in Asia and America, as said earlier, with whom uh, we shall share an automated picking system, like the Kiva, for example. I've heard great things about this line of robots. Then, for sustainability, well, Loro Piana can boost its brand value by enabling sustainability into every step of its supply chain. Let's take an example. Green logistics and regional distribution centers will help reduce carbon emissions by shortening transport routes. Ethical standards like RWS to ensure animal welfare and fair labor practices. And God knows the brand needs that right now. Technologies like the RFID and blockchain will enhance traceability and transparency, reinforcing customers' trust. And finally, circular economy initiatives and reverse logistics minimize waste and promote a more responsible luxury, aligning with the brand and with modern customers' value. I've heard great things about a practice called upcycling, which is to take old clothes and renew in them. It can work in luxury too. Now for the implementation plan. Our roadmap is designed to support a, let's say, gradual transformation. So, we can see here that we will still be preserving Loro Piana's heritage while introducing the agility and transparency that today's luxury customers expect. And short term, so the 6 to 12 months, we'll launch the ABCXYZ inventory segmentation to improve the stock's accuracy and a pilot for the RFID and the analytics in, of course, selected regions to ensure visibility and a data driven decision making. In the medium term, so the 12 to 24 months, we will establish regional distribution centers to reduce the lead time that we've talked about earlier and the carbon emissions. And then we can integrate the IoT sensors for the real time quality control of the sensitive materials. And finally, in the long term, we will implement a full technology integration across the supply chain and introduce hopefully a circular design initiative like the repair, resell, and recycle to reduce waste and extend our products' lives. To conclude and to summarize, we've identified the key supply chain challenges that your brand that's so dear and near to my heart experiences, from the centralized logistics and poor inventory turnover to the limited sustainability practices. But no worries, by investing in agility, smart technologies, and sustainable operations, the brand will be able to become more responsive, efficient, and, well, environmentally responsible. Now's the time to transform Loro Piana into a modern luxury supply chain, one that honors this heritage left to us by Pietro Loro Piana, and to the expectations of today's global luxury customer. Thank you for your attention. Uh, I do have one last note to say. Let's not exemplify this quote said once by Jonathan Byrne, which was, many supply chains are perfectly suited to the need that the business had 20 years ago. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a lovely summer. This was Cedi Almaskune. Goodbye. I forgot the references. Well, you have my references here, and it was great being part of this class and this generation. Have a great summer once again. Goodbye.